We're doing it again.
Again.
Go. All right. Ready?
It's gonna be. Okay. All right, here we go. It's like, do it again.
Yeah, you're gonna win.
All right, I'll be honest. It's time for us to decode photography buzzwords.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going. Okay, let's start it out. Thread lightly.
My favorite.
This has been
My favorite segment ever.
We will never run out of topics ever because of what threads constantly
Go off.
gives us. Okay, so going through the doom scroll, of course.
Yeah.
And I'm on the vendor side of threads, so I see a lot of this stuff. But this one I saved, it caught my eye, and it said brides and grooms. Okay, so thread lightly, brides and grooms. If you're going for a documentary feel, make sure to ask both your photographer and videographer how they approach the day. One might be candid, the other more pose. And that contrast can totally shift the vibe. Neither is wrong, but it's so worth clarifying early on.
That's so true.
So
I would have never thought about, I mean, it makes so much sense, but distinguishing style beforehand because they may clash. Huh, okay.
So what do you, so I use the words in here like buzzwords, like we're talking buzzwords. So there's two in here that immediately came out was documentary and candid. Okay.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel like they're used a little interchangeably.
Yep.
But
What do they mean?
yeah. But like literally we've,
But that,
you know what a strawberry tastes like, but it's really hard to describe it to somebody else. I feel like that's what happens with these sort of words. But documentary, candid, what's another one?
lifestyle.
Okay, another one.
Let's see. Candid, documentary, lifestyle. Why am I blanking on a fourth one?
Editorial.
Editorial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are like on, I feel like you get on a website and it's like the timeless documentary.
Yes, candid, spirit goes. Yes, there's a lot.
But what does that mean?
I wanted to, also I brought this up because maybe for part of this before we start talking about the buzzwords is a little bit about photographers and videographers working together, because sometimes when people like they've already booked me, and this, I feel like photographers definitely book
Photo first. Yes.
and then video comes somewhat later. I mean, obviously you could do photo video teams.
For sure.
People are definitely booking photo and video ahead, or video kind of goes like, hey, we found it in our budget to be able to do that. So I get a lot of questions. Do you work well with them? Who do you recommend? When reading that, do you feel like you have to have teams that are similar? Because we work with so many, do you feel a competing, like, because you're definitely more, I would say candid. Okay, do I go that? And you like the documentary role. I like candid with some guided approach. I mean, we all do. There's a whole lot of buzzwords. But do you ever see yourself not fighting with, but like having a clashing with how you actually do a day's work? Because I will say I don't.
I don't think I do either. I don't feel it clashing. I think I feel sometimes like I learned very early on that video needs movement. And so the more that I am interrupting a moment that is naturally occurring, it's harder for video to capture. And so I used to be like going and like physically adjusting and like, you know, touching and like entering the frame for them so often with my couples that it wasn't until honestly a videographer was like, when you do that, like I can't capture that moment because so they may be doing a twirl and then you interrupt it and then we resume, but that was not a full flow moment for me. I had to like stop. And so I'm like, okay, so that was years ago and that really helped me reframe like what they need. And so even though I'm posing or like maybe giving direction, I do it from a distance instead of like interrupting the moment and going and adjusting. I just try to keep it flowing naturally. Like we're walking and now I'm going to have you look back at me. And then while you're walking, go ahead and give her a twirl and then pull her in and give her a kiss and try to give like direction, movement, my movement instead of like stopping. And now we're going to do a whole different scene.
Yeah, I will say, like I can think about a last wedding that I did, and I do some things that like I have people talk
Mhm.
and then I'm like, okay, now we're gonna do one for video. And I just smile and walk. And then I mean, I also will then like feel like we work so well with so many here. I've never really had an issue, honestly, with video.
The only thing
One.
right. I was
Never mind.
I was gonna say the only time I saw a clash was just that, like, I had never worked with a certain videographer before, and their style of shooting was very different. They were a lot slower in their moments that they were capturing and really a perfectionist and wanted it to be perfect, so they would, like, restart moments.
Oh,
Yeah, so I've
that
heard some people I've not experienced this a ton, but I have heard of people that it's like the videographer is actually like, "Oh, we're in a first look moment, but I need you to redo that because that moment, like, wasn't, like, oomph enough for video."
Oh.
So it's like recreating an organic moment
that's gone.
for
That
video.
moment's gone.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
think that those are the only kind of clashing that I have. So if you're booking a videographer and a photographer, I think to avoid a style clash, maybe asking how hands-on they are while they are shooting or
Yeah,
how
because
directive.
yeah, I would say a lot of the stuff I don't see is I mean, I could see some of them, like, doing stuff like, "Oh, it's gonna look great later," and then they put this really cinematic thing, even though the day wasn't really cinematic.
Yeah.
So post-editing, I can see them doing their thing. But you're right, like, when we're working on the day of, I I don't really like to stop and start.
No.
I wanna move
I
to the
wanna
next
keep it
pose, and I wanna move to the next pose, and that way people aren't really thinking about what they're doing, and then so, for me, yeah, I'm definitely certain moments I definitely want pose, but if we're talking couple photos and twirls and dips and like having a little bit more of a candid approach, then well, I want to keep moving. I don't like
yeah.
static. I don't like the idea of you can create a perfect scene in a way because then the day is so imperfectly perfect.
Yeah.
So I don't for me. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess I could see that.
Yeah, and I
Some-
think that all of these things, like all of the buzzwords are really popular right now because I think the trend that I'm seeing are these very casual, candid,
Film.
carefree film, running
Tilted
through the
angles.
fields, tilted
There's a
angles.
lot.
So that feels very like you're just an observer of the day. So what I think that we really need to clarify here is when you see those words, what do they actually mean and what it is that you actually want when you're booking these services.
Yes, what that means and how at the same time they can be in your whole day. You can have all these buzzwords,
Yeah,
the
multiple
photography
different things.
style,
Yeah.
very dependent of the day. Okay, so let's start with like let's go maybe from like one end to another.
Mhm.
So let's go casual end. So what is casual? Are we doing candid and documentary because those seem to kind of get used interchangeably, but I say that we see them differently.
Yeah, so I would say that probably the most, if we looked at like a linear involvement scale,
Yeah.
like photographer involvement, I would say the bare minimum involvement would be a documentary with candid elements, not candid. I don't know if I would call a style candid because I feel like it's more about capturing moments candidly than a candid style of
Like a
shooting.
whole day is candid.
Yes.
Really, it's like a because you could have an
Yeah.
editorial
Approach.
approach, but then there's a candid moment
Yes.
in there.
Agree.
Okay.
So, documentary, in my opinion, is I, as your photographer, am only documenting what is happening organically. That means that your bridal party they're not getting posed by me. They are
We are
organically.
winging it.
We are watching what is unfolding. We are capturing your day as it is. We are not interrupting. We are not curating. We are just documenting. I feel like what people hear when they see that is a very lifestyle, personal approach,
Mhm.
but it's not curated. People that are maybe not as comfortable in front of the camera may not want documentary because they're not being directed.
Yes, I would
Yeah.
say if there's such a flip on the coin on that.
Yeah.
In that they are okay. I feel like for documentary, you really have to be a main character actor.
Yes.
You have to be very ready and comfortable in whatever you're doing is purposeful and you know it. Okay.
Yes.
So there's no questions being directed to me. You're doing your own thing. You're fine. You're not like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this? Is it okay? Is my arm okay? Yeah. Oh, no,
You're
no.
in the moment.
You have to have, like, you almost have to be in a way like an actor in a bit. Like, you really have to go for that if you're comfortable with it. And then, photo wise, on the receiving end of that, you know, you may be stepping into some light I probably wouldn't have put you in. There may be some grain or heavier or different edits that maybe you have seen or haven't seen. Hopefully, if you're picking somebody that's like a fully documentary, you've seen some portfolio work beforehand, or you are having the conversation. I don't see that on your portfolio. Is this something you can and can't do? And then guide, because maybe as a fear of me is, even though I say it's like imperfectly, I do still want photos that look good.
Yes.
So what does that look like on the end? Like, you're gonna have maybe like poses or ways that you're in that may not be the most flattering.
But you're embracing the moment.
Right, but that's the
You're
moment.
currently in the moment. And I would say that when we are shooting a ceremony, that is a fully documentary style of
Correct.
something. So when someone is trying to think of like, what could this mean? I'm not stopping the ceremony and saying, okay, Jason, can you open up your shoulders a little bit more toward me? Because I can't see your face very well.
Or like, hey, you guys are not standing physically under the arbor. Can I just shimmy there?
There is nothing that is being said. So that approach, but for your full day.
Yeah.
Do you actually want that? So I think that when we're looking at a lot of the like trendy words, that is a trendy word right now because that style is very popular. But I don't think that people understand actually what that style dictates and what it requires.
Correct. If you want, like,
You know?
full documentary, you know, well, here's the thing. Like, we were just talking about Facebook groups in a previous episode, and people are like, I'm looking for a documentary photographer. And then they share these like 4 photos, and you're like, that's curated. Yeah, that's curated. Yes,
That
that's
was a
curated.
setup shot.
That is a setup shot. So they like the candid moments. And that's where we bring that in. Like, they like the candid moment of that.
Yeah.
But that wasn't just the bride being like, I'm going to go walk through the woods now and go stand in this one very specific spot of light.
Yes.
So it's made to look documentary and candid when you know it wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that there is also, when you are shooting within that style, one, there's a huge trust that you have as a client and a photographer or a videographer. There's a huge trust element of, I know that my person is capturing things and I don't have to keep looking over my shoulder to make sure that they're capturing it effectively.
absolutely.
You have to trust and you have to know that there are going to be moments that culturally or societally, I feel like we see a lot of curated moments that look candid, and that is not what documentary is.
No.
Like, it just isn't. Like that, I want to just keep going back to like, this is probably the most popular style I feel like right now. And it gets very confused as to like what it actually is.
Okay. So you're saying people like that look,
Yes.
but it's actually not that documentary.
Correct. I feel like it is more of a curated to look lighthearted and whimsical and hands-off, but it's actually pretty hands-on.
So if
in
we're
reality.
moving, so okay, so what's the plus side? Or actually, let's start with the negative side. We'll end on a positive. What's the negative side of if we're going fully documentary? What's a negative on that?
I would
Is
say,
there a negative?
I would say the negative is just if you are an anxious person as a bride and you want control over a shot list kind of mentality, that's probably not
That's not
gonna be
no, that's
like
exactly where
like genuinely even down to like, can we do like a cute little robe shot on the bed and very pose? That is not documentary. That's
no,
in my
made
like,
to look
that's
like
made
you
to
guys
look
just
like it.
popped onto the bed.
Because that did not happen.
Okay,
Like, so that
positive?
positive would be, you do not want to feel like your wedding day is a photo shoot. You want it captured as is. and you don't want to feel like you are trying to be like performing in front of
timeline. You don't want to be like, it's 3 o'clock,
3:15, 4 o'clock. We're doing wedding party photos and individual like no. If that is not your vibe, don't. You have to be the right personality for this. I have only, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, I've only photographed really one full documentary style thing where I was genuinely the fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Except for like moments that I probably forced posing on the couple because I was anxious and they were okay with it. But like maybe 15 minutes throughout the whole day. Like
Yeah.
there was not a lot of posing happening. Like I was not directing the shots.
Yes.
Even shots that what's funny is even shots that look posed, like I can think of a wedding or a bridal party shot on a couch. I didn't tell them to sit on the couch. It was the bride's idea and they all wanted to like cuddle and hang out on the couch. I did not give it.
Yeah, but that's like main character act. Like,
yep.
you have
I like
to be
the couch.
main
I want to sit on it. Let's go walk down this hallway. Like they directed all of it. I just captured it.
And I think that's the thing, like when people say they want that documentary feel, yeah, I say through most of the day, it's actually pretty fine until you get to like a segment like couple photos or even formal family photos. Of course, that's not documentary. And no, I mean, there's no way you're going to get Meemaw from the bar over to this area away from everybody to get a
You're
photo.
still standing there and smiling for a photo.
You are. I guess maybe I wouldn't even consider that as part of the day. I mean, you can make that more casual. Like we can just have hugs and that sort of stuff and like group photos like that. But there still is, again, you have to have that main character energy to then go do couple photos. And I just follow you around and you have to do it. So if you're looking, then be like, what do we do now? I'm like, we're out of it. I have swung
and
the other way.
And I will say for the couple that I'm referring to, we had maybe 5 minutes with them for couples photos. And at the end of the 5 minutes, they were like over it. They're like, we're good.
Like, we're done.
We're done. But I got so many photos of them together throughout the whole day. Like,
because you're walking on the wall and you're watching them.
Yeah, watching them. And it's about anticipating moments. Like,
yes,
does your photographer that is labeling themselves as documentary style, are they able to anticipate moments? Because that's really what it's about. It's not like I'm listening for the moment before the moment because I know that that moment is springing the moment I want to capture.
So when you're thinking about like springing the moment, talk about like gear wise. Like, are you close to them? Are you far away?
I don't feel like I'm right in there with them. I'm a little further away.
So you have different gear and lenses that can actually do it. You're just not up there on like a 35 millimeter.
I'm not like right there. I'm not interface. I am approachable. You can see me there. I'm not like behind a table, like with a super long zoom lens. I want you to feel my presence, but I don't want to be a distraction. I don't want people to feel like they're...
You are the fly on the wall. You're noticeable. Nobody really cares about you.
And even within that day, that was very, very chill and unposed. I still have people that came up and asked for like photos together. Like there's still posed moments, but it's about the approach and how you're going to really capture the whole day.
Right. So so the next step then, we're going from documentary fly on the wall to what I feel like is sort of the everyday. I don't know. I think of it in like sort of like 3 blocks of it. Like you got documentary all the way to editorial, and then the middle you would consider what?
Probably, let's see, if we're removing candid from a category.
I would say, can I use the word guided?
Yeah. Yeah, guided, like a guided curated. Yeah. With candid moments.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a title for that though.
No, it's sort of like, like we were talking for about like these sort of, maybe like documentary, here, look at this, like documentary with prompts. Again, like guided.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of go a little bit further where you do more of a focused with less guided.
How about lifestyle? Do you feel like lifestyle could be that middle ground? Because I feel like with lifestyle, you have the free floating relaxed vibe, but it is still guided.
Like, hey, go over here and do this.
Yeah. Like, okay, we're getting her in her dress. here's the 5 bridesmaids. Can you guys all just straighten and like put her veil around her shoulders?
Yes.
That may be the only direction I get. And then I'm getting all of the little natural moments that are happening within that moment that I set up. Or like, hey, everyone just walk from point A to point B. And like giggle and cheer her on and like grab her dress and whatever. Or like, all right, guys, you guys are going to walk toward me and this is your one instruction.
Yeah. So there's the instruction.
Yeah.
And then you're doing basically, I don't want to say documentary, candid moments within that instructions. Here is a box. In a way, I'm going to put you in the box, and whatever you do in the box, I'm going to photograph it. And that's what you get. Yeah. So there's candid moments inside a curated box.
Yeah. And I think, like, honestly, with each of these categories, I would say that there can be candid moments in each of them. You can have an editorial to documentary and have candid moments within each of these categories.
Yeah. And I would say, though, most of the, so when I had written this blog post and put it up there, I also found out people actually read my blog because they were like, oh my gosh, you're reading it. But they would mention, like, we're kind of in this, and I've never had full documentary and I've never had full editorial. They're like, we are definitely in a guided, candid approach that they want to look the best that they can, but make it feel like it's effortless.
Yes. They don't want to be in a photo shoot.
No, they don't.
But they also are like, I don't know what to do with my hand.
Right, exactly. So it's like
the majority.
That's of both worlds. Absolutely. And then as we move forward, like you were just saying with the getting ready, we're doing a candid, like a lifestyle candid approach, sort of the same with like wedding party and that sort of stuff. We go full documentary with the ceremony, full, almost, I guess you could say editorial in a way with family photos, right? We're very specific and this is what we're going to do and do that. We go to cocktail hour, documentary, a couple of photos, golden hour. We're doing the guided candid approach, go stand in this beautiful light over here and do these things. And then reception is pretty much documentary as well. So you're going to come in and out of stuff. Throughout. But I think when you're reaching out to photographers or you're seeing their work, I say hone in on what sort of style you go to now.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Chop Chop Beauty Club.
My name is Samantha, and I'm the owner and creative director of Chop Chop Beauty Club. We are a luxury on-site hair and makeup team, and we make sure that not only is your wedding day service exactly what you're looking for, but we work really hard on the back end to make sure that the whole booking and scheduling process is seamless. I like to say that we are a set it and forget it type of company. You have so many things that you are dealing with when you're planning a wedding. You're booking photographers, you're booking catering, things like that. We don't want to be one more thing on your to-do list. So we have all of our communication perfectly timed out, so you never have to reach out to us. We will always reach out to you for whatever milestone is around the corner. Our genderless and all-inclusive service menu ensures that you will get exactly the service that is for you. Whether that is a more skincare forward makeup service, if you don't really like to wear a lot of makeup, or if you need to rent hair extensions, our Dream Hair Club is for you. So we have all the tips and tricks to make your wedding or special event perfect.
So thank you, Sam, for providing incredible services for brides and grooms everywhere. We absolutely adore you. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Which is funny with trends, okay, because you're just talking about what we're seeing now. You know, years ago, it comes and goes. It really, I swear, it's a door that swings this way and back that way.
Oh my gosh.
But there was a very dark and moody time, like editing wise. And then it went very kind of perfectly curated, bright and airy, very timeless, traditional. And then now we're kind of going a film, tilt, blur, imperfect things. And you know the door is going to swing back to perfection.
For sure.
Like,
absolutely.
Going to come out of it and back. So that's what sort of started our buzzword conversation on it. Like, what do you consider each of those? Because now we're going full editorial. That's sort of like the last buzzword. And what does that look like? What's the plus for that and what's a negative on editorial?
That is for the couple that wants to look like they are straight out of a magazine.
Yes.
And there is, I would say, like a little bit of perfect undertones. Like we want everyone to look quite literally the best that they can in every shot. So if we are setting up a bridal party shot, every single person is getting fine tuned and making sure that it's perfect and the light may be set up and it's a scene. It's a full scene.
Yeah.
And that's touching on everything. I mean, down to like, I think there are people that shoot that way in a reception, even like that they're controlling every element of the light and the like positioning, and like they have a say in where things get set up.
But But even then, we say main character energy. For that, you have to have it too.
Yeah.
And you have to be also then comfortable in the same realm of allowing your photographer to guide you, like to there's a lot of direction. So you have to want the direction, be open to the direction, and really spend the time to do it. Like,
Would you
we'll have like, again, 3 o'clock, we're doing this. But 4 o'clock, we're doing this. You're going to come down here. We're going to do this. So it is very, you are coming with me. We're going to have a ton of direction, a ton of conversation about it. You're going to know that I'm there. I'm going to touch you.
Yep.
Probably a lot.
Yep.
So
I have a photographer friend who does a lot of editorial work. That's like her main thing. And she has these beautiful iconic images like in New York City that's like in the middle of the road in a car, and it's very posed. And I always think about the time that it takes to get that one shot. One shot. That is a block of time. That is making sure there's no one walking in the street, there's no cars coming, that it's clear, that everyone's looking the right way. There's a lot of thought out energy and execution that is going into that shot. That is not a candid moment.
And then
that at all.
should you expect as a couple photo number wise back in your gallery?
Oh. More or less.
More or less with editorial. Because you have blocked off that time and nobody's interrupting. Could you expect, if, everything is laid out well, the photographer's ready to go, everybody's focused, you expect more or less? Or
probably about the same. I think it depends. And I think more on the front end, the expectation should be the different styles of photography may require more or less time. Like if you're going out, you may take an hour for couples portraits for an editorial style, and that's very important to you. And you and your fiance, spouse have to be on the same page of we are posing for photos for an hour.
That's a whole nother. And that's another conversation. You might want to please tell me your spouse does this out, because you're not going to get that look.
Not going to get the same energy. Yeah.
And
I've had couples that like, they want these cool, dramatic, their portraits are the most important thing on their wedding day. So they're going to take an hour, or they're going to take however long to get these dramatic, incredible shots.
Yes.
I think it just depends. It depends on, you have to know going into it, what kind of photography do I want? How much time do I want to take the day of to allot? If it is nothing, then probably a more documentary style is for you.
Yeah.
Not as much like structured photo ready moments that are just for photos versus,
I think that's the thing. Like, you have to know, one of the past episodes we talked about, like, when you go through these wedding days and we have these golden hour photos, and like sober, you really wanted this block of time. To drunk, you are they go to why? So like, yeah, we're good. You're like, are you? This is very beautiful. The sun is setting. It's golden. But
we're just like dying inside watching it go away. We're like, you guys are so beautiful and you'd be great.
Yeah, like, you're finally in your suit. You look great, although you are drunk as disgust. So maybe not. So maybe to end this segment, this episode, what should couples do when they're reaching out to a photo or video team? Like, I'm your team. I'm working with a videographer I've worked with before. So since you are the bride to be coming up, what advice would you give to that?
I would say to not only ask what their shooting style is.
Yeah.
If it doesn't say on their website, let's just say it doesn't say anything. What their shooting style is and how they would define it. What that looks like for them. So you're an editorial photographer. What does that look like for me on the day of?
Oh, that's good.
Honestly, act like you're dumb and you don't know don't know from square one, because we're defining it this way, but also another person may not define it that way.
Well, and that's the thing. That's a good point because sometimes people will say to me, just on like editing side,
Mhm.
I really like your light and airy photos.
Right.
Oh,
I would not.
say a little bit airy.
Mm-hmm.
And some are like, you're dark and moody. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know if I'm that either.
It's kind of like
So-
when we were talking about even like the budget thing and like arm and a leg or cheap. Like everyone has different definitions for what those things are. So clarify what that actually means. Okay, you have a lot of candid verbiage. Like you say candid, candid, candid. What does that mean? Are you just observing and you're getting moments that are just already happening, or are you creating moments and then capturing candid moments from that? Because I have a lot of people that inquire and they're like, we really love candid moments. And I'm like, okay, what that tells me is you do not want to be ultra posed, whatever, but that's my translation.
Yes.
Maybe for the couple to walk in and really define what it is that you want. I want to feel like it's not a photo shoot, or I'm really uncomfortable in front of the camera and I really need a lot of direction.
Yeah.
Is that your style? Because editing style is something that you can see, right? Like you can see,
Yes. Do you like it?
do you like it or not?
Yes or no?
But you can't hear what the photographer's direction is to get that photo. So what you're trying to figure out is, what is that photographer actually doing and how are they operating on the wedding day? And it doesn't work for me.
Personality.
Yeah, do I want that?
And a good
You know?
maybe figure, well, maybe post booking, right? You've booked your photo team or whatever, and then you really do kind of want to get a sense of that. Definitely do engagement photos or something like that. Just figure out what you like and what you don't like and rework that.
And how did you feel?
Right.
And are you able to ignore the
But I
camera?
think that conversation is really good to have on the front end, because the last thing you want to do is feel a different way than you were expecting. I feel like expectations of things can ruin a day. You expected something to happen,
Yeah.
and it didn't happen, but you didn't have the conversation around that expectation.
Yeah, that's really good too.
No.
Yeah. So just as clear as you can be, inquiring and making sure that the style choice is what you are comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want a personality clash. And I've been a part of weddings that like their photographer was very, very hands off, and like
We talked.
yeah, and legitimately like we go out for one single bridal party photo and it's like, that was it. Like that's it. And I remember being in those scenarios of being like, you sure? Like, did you get everything? But then getting the gallery got me being like, oh, that just was not their style. And then I didn't really care that much about like a full wedding party.
She saw what she likes, and that's what they did for her.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like I love that. So
Okay. So really, so maybe then last tip, if you really do want to see what they do, or you want to visualize it more, ask for galleries.
yes.
See more videos, like really see. And then I'm going to add a little asterisk next to that. When you're asking for galleries about what it looks like, don't be looking at decor. Don't be looking at like a theme or a color palette. See what type of photos you're getting. And if you like those C's, then that should solidify or not if that vendor, that photographer, videographer is the right fit for you.
Yeah. 100%. We'll need to sit down with your partner and be like, how do we want to feel? How do we want to feel? Do we want a camera in our face the whole time? Or do we want to really just be the main characters and someone else follow us around and each?
Yeah. No, so just do our hit date.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That was a short one, but a good one.